All right, guys. So here I am. I'm back. All right. So let's continue. So step 5, right? Log in into AWS with your IAM user. This is just so basically once you go to Amazon here, you're just gonna go ahead and create a new account. When you create a new account, you're gonna be creating a root user account. All right, but we're not gonna use the root user account to do all of our work. And this is going to apply also for real life. You never want to make changes on the root account because for whatever reason, especially when it comes to passwords and things like that, if you lose the password for your root account, you are going to lose access to everything. So what we tend to do, right, in real life, in real businesses, we tend to create a second user um, where we are going to be making all the changes from. All right, so just go through the process. Obviously, I've already created the account, and then it's going to be just free. All right, so here I already saved my information, so I'm just going to sign in. Oh, there it occurred. Let's try again. So it's pretty easy, guys. It won't take you too long. But if you encounter any issues, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and I'll be I'll make sure to address those issues for you. All right. Um, Now, just keep in mind that when you are doing these projects, okay, I should have said this at the beginning, but if you, and I'm gonna say it later too, if you don't like shut down the container or like Beanstalk in this case, it's going to charge you if you leave it for more than a certain amount of hours. Okay, so it's free up to a until you hit that limit. All right. So, but anyway, let's just keep going. So yes, it's gonna ask you here to create it. So you go ahead and create it. You're gonna go over all of this. All right. Blah blah blah. So we're kind of gonna skip this part. All right. So we're gonna head to step 6. Deploy your custom image to Elastic Beanstalk. All right. So in this step, we'll deploy your custom Docker image to AWS Elastic Beanstalk, a service that makes it easy for developers to deploy applications in the cloud. This is the grand finale for the project. Complete the application development process by making your app public on the internet. So what we're going to do now is, now that we have our application running locally, we're gonna take the application and just put it on that on the AWS server, which is called Elastic Beanstalk. All right. So in this step, set up your application in Elastic Beanstalk, right, and deploy your application and make it available to the world. All right. So what are we here to do? Step in this step, I will host the application on AWS Elastic Beanstalk. I know that this terminology Elastic comes from knowing that you can kind of utilize the AW resources in a way that it allows you to scale, right? That's why it's elastic, because you can scale or downscale, and that's the reason why it's called elastic. What's that? Because we want to make it available for the rest of the world. Okay. So instead of hosting the application again, right? Instead of hosting the application on our machine, we're gonna host it on the AWS server. Okay. So we'll hit here done. Creating an Elastic Beanstalk applications. Head to AWS Management Console and log in as your IAM user. Search for Elastic Beanstalk and click on the service. Okay. So we're gonna go here. Find application. So Elastic Beanstalk. Maybe here. All right, this is where we gotta find. All right, so it's going to be this one. We're gonna hit it. Okay, we're making progress, guys. We're making progress. We're looking good. I know my lightning is not the best. I'm gonna work on it. We keep improving. I want to talk about a little bit about my last video. I know it was like a little bit of a struggle. It took some time. You know, in this field, guys, in IT, you're gonna come across problems. All right, whether it's IT, whether it's software development, whatever field you pick, you're gonna encounter times where you're gonna feel like you're stuck, but you need to persevere. All right, so you need to be there. Now, if you get overwhelmed, of course, you go for a walk and you come back, but you need to start to develop this sense of we just gotta be patient, guys. You know, it's technology. Sometimes things work out and you don't even know how it got fixed. It happens all the time in IT. So just get used to that. All right, don't get overwhelmed. So we're going to create an application, and this is what we gotta follow the steps. All right, new accounts only support launch templates. Starting October 24, auto scaling will no longer support the creation of launch configurations for new accounts. Existing environments will not be impacted. For more information about other situations that are impacted, okay. All right, so let's see. Let's follow these steps, guys. All right. Let me see if I can put this over here and then these over here. All right. That way it's kind of easier to follow the steps. All right. So search for Beanstalk. All right. So what is Elastic Beanstalk? It is a service that makes it easier to deploy cloud applications without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. You simply upload your code, and Elastic Beanstalk handles everything needed to get it running, like setting up servers and managing scaling. This lets you focus on your application code without having to spend too much time on managing cloud infrastructure. Right, so basically, what do we have on a on-premise environment? We have our server, right? So we purchase a $40,000, $50,000 server, and on that server, we could virtualize it, or we could just use that specific server for the only purpose of hosting an application in this case, right? But we know that you can use a server for different things, right? You can use a server where you host your email. You can have a server where you host your database, right? So in this case, instead of us worrying about the data center, right? We're worrying about energy, worrying about someone that's going to maintain the server, worrying about someone that against natural disaster. Instead of doing that, now we can just upload and use AWS or Amazon's cloud service, right? Which is, at the end of the day, it's their own servers, right? So think about it, that it's also a physical server, but it's just it's something that they take care of. So you save all those things, right? I hope that makes sense. So this lets you focus. Okay, cool. So in more technical terms, Elastic Beanstalk handles things like what? Capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto scaling, application health monitor. It's great, guys. So how is Elastic Beanstalk related to containers and Docker? Elastic Beanstalk can't run applications that are packaged as Docker containers. So it understands Docker language. This means you can develop your application on your local machine and create a Docker container image to package everything needed to run it. Once your container image is ready, you can easily deploy it onto Beanstalk. All right. So basically, what we just did, right? So we basically built the whole image here locally on our computers, and then once we had the application ready with all the information it needs, all the tools, all the the dependencies, then now you can go ahead and upload it. All right. So what is Elastic Beanstalk? Elastic Beanstalk is a cloud service from AWS that allows us to host our application, even if it's built with Docker. Okay, so we're gonna hit. It's a cloud service from AWS that allows us to host our application, even if it's built with Docker. Because I mean, you can use Docker, you can use other container like applications. All right, so we're gonna hit done. Click on create application, which we did, right? So what is an Elastic Beanstalk application? An Elastic Beanstalk application is a folder. It's like a folder that contains all the different versions of the same project. Okay. You've deployed and the settings you've used to run them. I stopped because what comes to mind is like GitHub. I wonder if it's something similar. Well, because you know in GitHub you're gonna have like different versions of the changes that have been made on your application, on your project, right? I don't know if it's like that. Maybe. I see lots of steps on the left hand side of the screen. What are these steps? To set up your application, Elastic Beanstalk will take you through the steps for deploying the application and how you'd like to customize your deployment settings. All right, cool. Web server, yeah, it's going to be a web server. What is a worker environment? Run a worker application that processes long-running workloads on demand or performs tasks on a schedule. Okay, so this is, I guess, more for like testing kind of thing. Let's see. So, welcome to the setup page. Before we set up our Beanstalk application in classic network style, we're about to go through and explain every step of the Elastic Beanstalk setup process together, but it's not required for you to understand every single setting we're about to see. All right, so but we'll go through it together. If there's something that I could explain, we'll do it together. Okay, so the key thing is to note is that this process is how simple it is to upload your containerized application to deploy with Elastic Beanstalk. All right. In the configure environment page, we'll leave the environment here as default. Okay. What is an environment? An environment is like the settings for the virtual machines that will run your application. When you configure your environment, you're deciding the instance. So type EC2 instance that will be running the container, scaling options, how many instances, network settings, and more. Okay. Right, so we're just basically setting up that virtual environment. Okay, virtual machines, EC2. How does that relate to Elastic Beanstalk? EC2 is a virtual machine that is a feature, and I know about it because I worked on that on the other two projects and we had to use EC2. But we'll go through those projects together. So anyway, so Elastic Beanstalk uses EC2 instances. So there's a relationship, right? Under the hood to run your applications. Even though you're deploying a Docker container, it automatically runs on an EC2 instance managed by Elastic Beanstalk. All right, so the other thing with containers, right? You can deploy or like you can start your container on a virtual machine to let's see, how can I explain this? I mean, so just like I have Docker, just like I had Docker here, right? So we're gonna start Docker, just how I had it here on my local machine. You can have Docker installed on a virtual machine just so that you have the specific environment for the container. Not that it matters, but you can do that too. Right, because a virtual machine can be just another regular computer. All right, so let's keep going here. Enter next work app. All right, so that's what we'll call it. Next work app. We'll leave the environment information the same. Under platform section, select Docker as your platform. See, these are all you have Docker, you have, looks like Docker is the only containerized provider that it accepts. Interesting. The platform branch and version will automatically be selected for you too. Okay, cool. So it's going to run Docker on Linux. Cool. What does platform mean? The platform is the technology that will open and run your application. We picked Docker because it's the best to perform for deploying container images built with Docker. Platform branch is the type of Docker we're using. The default is the Amazon. Means we're using a type of Docker that's optimized to be used on an Amazon Linux 2023 operating system. Platform version is the specific version of Docker that we're using within that branch. I think that's pretty clear. In the application code section, select upload your code. Before we upload any code, try updating index.html, for example. Alright, so let me open up here my notes. I restarted my computer earlier because I was having some issues. Alright, so I know that I had closed that. And yes, remember guys that we were looking for our HTML file earlier. It looks like it's not. I wonder where it is. Well, this is it. Never mind. This is it. So let me edit here, Notepad. So here we have it. We'll do this and we'll put our name here again. Bruno Soria. If I can see, it means the lesson has been deployed. Okay, and we're gonna save that. And okay, create a zip file containing. Alrighty, so we are going to do desktop and we're going to zip this. We're going to do compress to zip file. Alright, so we zipped everything together. Your file should be at the root level of the zip, not inside a subfolder. Your files should be at the root level of the zip file. Okay, so I'm not supposed to zip the whole folder, but just these two. Okay. Is that what it is, guys? Upload your zip file into Elastic. Okay, so upload, and we'll do local file. We'll choose and we'll test both, guys. We'll test both. We'll do, okay, let's do this one first. Let's see if that's it. Single instance. For the rest of Elastic Beanstalk application setup, check out the high touch guide for explanations. EC2 instant profile is set to instant. Challenge user to try to create it from scratch. Here's a hint. What is this? I wonder if you guys can see this. That's kind of small, right? So let me. This is what I'm seeing, guys. So what does it say? From the rest of Elastic Beanstalk's application setup, check out the high touch guide for explanation on each. Oh, okay. EC2 instance profile set to. Okay, so let's go back here to this and we'll hit next. Version 1. I think it really matters. So yeah, single instance. Okay, it's free tier eligible. Configure service access roles. Okay, use existing service role. Okay, we're going to use this. Okay, so I'm not sure what's next here. Interesting. It's not really telling us what to do here, like how to proceed, right? So select an EC2 key pair, which I already have my key pairs. Do I need this? Let me check, where do I have my key pair? Okay, so it's network key pairs. All right, so these key pairs, right? What are they? So they're basically a way. So how do I explain this? So how do you access? How do you access that virtual machine, right? You can come here to the GUI version of AWS and access the EC2 instance from here directly, but you can also access it directly from Visual Studio, right? So, for example, on the other project I worked on, they asked me to set up SSH. So from Virtual Studio is that um, I was I was connecting to the EC2 instance via SSH. So how do you connect the two? Well, you need to create a key pair here for authentication, right? So that way they know who is accessing that EC2 instance. So I'm going to keep this one. I know I'm not starting this from zero. I know it's been there already, but I mean, I guess things we don't really need to do this because we're not going to SSH. So what if I don't want it? What if I don't want it? EC2 instance profile. Okay, we're going to hit next. You know what, guys? We're going to do the high touch because it's a lot of steps here, and I don't want to. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it here. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Let's see if we can just skip that. Can we skip that? No. Nope. 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 Do that. Do that. Instance subnets. Okay. So what subnet? I mean, doesn't really matter, to be honest, which one you pick. Choose a subnet in each AZ for the instances that run your application. To avoid exposing your instances to the internet, run your instances in a private subnet or load balancer in public subnets. To run your load balancer and instances in the same public subnets, assign public IP addresses to the instances. Right, so we're just basically pretty much saying which subnets are allowed into this private network. So I mean, doesn't really matter here, and we're doing the same here with a database that we're not really using. I guess it's just for the sake of creating the um, the beanstalk instance. Yeah, we'll just do default. We'll just do all these defaults right here. On demand, architecture. Okay, so what happens next? Monitoring, we don't want to monitor anything. We just want to deploy our application. So let's see. So that's just an overview of everything we've selected. We'll continue. Okay. So it says Elastic Beanstalk is launching your environment. This will take just a few minutes. Okay, while it does that, I would like to come back here. And we are going to go back here to the top. Okay, and we're going to do the high touch. All right, just so that we see what is that they're talking about. So deploy, right? So we read this, we went through this, we read all of this, okay, and we stopped where, guys? Where did we stop? We updated our HTML file, we zipped it, we started to create the beanstalk instance. And this is where they were going to guide us, right? They were going to say here in the configure service access page, select create a new role. This creates a new IAM role, and the last piston can use the default. Okay. Did we create already? No. Okay. What is a service role? A service role is an AWS IAM role that lets Elastic Beanstalk permission to call other AWS services on your behalf. Why does Elastic Beanstalk need a new service role? One of the benefits of Elastic Beanstalk is that it can handle your application's cloud infrastructure for you. And it can only do that if it has the permission to use your AWS resources automatically, creating a new EC2 instance. It also helps with automating tasks like scaling and health monitoring. All right, so what's basically saying is that we need to create another account, just like the IAM account we created, right? So just that in case we lose the password of the root, I mean, just so that we can have a secondary account, right? In case, not in case, but because we don't want to use the main one, the root user one. So it's the same thing here. Now that we have this IAM user to create all of these things within AWS, we want to create another account that has the specific permissions for Beanstalk to make certain changes, such as scaling and health monitoring. I told you guys we didn't really need the EC2 key pair, but I did it anyway. I don't think it's going to affect it in any way. But here it says under EC2 instance profile, choose this one, which we didn't do. So it's taking its sweet time. So yeah, it's asking us to create it. Instance profile. Okay. Activated, so it's asking us to use. Okay, I should have probably gone over this first, but I'm just going to give it here just a few minutes. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, so we're going to stop right here. I think we've made a lot of progress. I think everything's looking good. Hold on here. Looks like we're going through some errors. Failed to create environment is starting. Okay, Amazon Health. Okay, the instance profile associated with the environment does not exist. All right, no problem. No problem. I'm gonna give it just a few minutes here. I'm going to stop the 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 video right now, because I don't know how long this is gonna. If it's taking too long, we'll just come back to it. We'll delete these instance and we'll just start over with the guideline that we have here. Okay, but I think we're doing good so far, guys. All right, so I'll see you just in a little bit.